And hello again. Welcome to Better Unit 52 for week 14. Thank you so much for being a part of the show today. I'm Jacob and Payne. I manage the things at the website Better Unit 52. And it's a very simple website with a very simple mission. It's there to support you in your journey at being better, whatever being better means to you. Now, we like to believe, as we do there at the website, that the better you part is pretty much simple. It's kind of an instant thing. If you decide you are better or you want to do better at something, then pretty much your better you happens in an instant. It's just there just because. And so as soon as you decide you're going to be the better something, do the better something, whatever is going to be better, then bam, you are better. What we provide you at the website is support in getting better. And you choose the thing you want to. This is not a 52-week program. It's not a 4-month program. It's not a program at all. It's just uh, literally a website with some resources to help you keep things going, keep positive, keep moving, and a video every week to help you kind of focus on thing. And if you can't kind of figure out how to work on improving that thing to better you, if in a sense, maybe this week's video will help you out. This week's video is an interesting concept, I believe. It's something that I don't want to say it's shocking to you, but maybe something that you may not really thought of in the process of getting a better person, being a better person, improving yourself in your life. And it is about making friends. Now, some of us at an advanced age, and I'm in my 40s, so that's advanced enough, believe we have, plenty of folks and plenty of life, plenty of friends in our lifestyle. And with the rise of Facebook in the last decade, we have the ability to connect with people for a long period of times. And some people that you really, really thought you should have got rid of a long time ago are still connected in the friendship realm, if you will. But what you'll probably figure out if you have a chance to look at younger people, I get a chance to see this in two ways. One, in my son who's in his middle 20s, and my daughter who is just about to turn 10 as we record this, the way friends are made. I get to see it from young adult standpoint, where he's starting to back away from some of the folks that he hung out with in the old days, tighten up some relationships, but then find new ones to move on to, and finding that some of those don't quite last as long as you think. Once you get past your college years, you think those guys you hung out with will be there forever, and they don't. I will also get to watch it from my daughter's perspective, who can make a friend pretty much in any situation. Anytime there's a child in the area, they instantly become the bestest friends in the world. And then when the situation's gone, it's there. But she'll still ask, "Hey, do you remember that person that we talked to at the park that day?" Those kind of things kind of linger, even if the people are not necessarily meant to be there for an extended period of time. From my perspective, as an almost 50-year-old, to be honest, I am a person who grew up having few tight friends, but the friends that I had that were tight friends are really tight. And some of those I have literally going back to uh, elementary school and high school. People that I tight with back then, I'm still tight with. But as far as having lots of friends, I'm a person who's able to get along and deal with a lot of people, but didn't call a lot of people friends for my own reasons. I'm introverted and my personality, things like that. And so as I have gotten older and now I need people to hang out with, there's less of those there. It also helps or hurts, if you will, that yeah, I've always moved around a lot. As a child, I was an Army brat. As an adult, I was a military person in the Air Force, and then since I've been here and locally, located essentially, um, drawn roots here in Arkansas, I've done so many things and been able to do so many different things with so many different people. I have lots of acquaintances, but not a lot of them stick on as friends. And that's just something I've had in my lifetime. But something I'm working on right now, literally for my family, my wife, and our kids, whatever, is to try to make more close relationships and to have more friendships, because friendships are a bond that can help you get through many struggles. It saves you a lot of money on therapy if you have a good friend to talk to who really is there for you and not just, there because they're convenient, if you will. Not that I'm knocking therapy. Therapy is great. Therapy is probably one of the things that I would suggest most people get, even if they don't think they need it. But having a good friend to talk to, just to turn around, to hang out with, to spending time with real humans is something that you will enjoy more when you find that you have less of them to hang out with. You'll find as you get older and there's less chances to just chill out and do stuff, having a friend and a good friend is there. So, because number one, This gets harder as you grow older, which is why we titled this Try and Find New Friends. Try to make new friends because it may not be the easiest thing in the world for you to do. Situations have to work out, personalities have to work out, timing has to work out. You have to be compatible in a lot of different ways that you didn't think about when you were a kid. It's not like going up to the playground and getting called up pick a pickup game of basketball and just pulling out people on the line and then playing really hard and finding out the best friend in the world you just met as you got picked in a basketball court. It doesn't quite work that way. There's so many different things, and really the sad part about trying to find friends as you're older. There's so many different things that the world sort of does to separate us, to put us in our little buckets, that it makes it harder for us to just connect on a simple level and just grow from there. So this is not going to be very easy. You're going to have to put in effort. You're going to find that people will reject you outright, or just sort of, casually reject you in a sense. You're going to find that you want to make friends with someone who's pretty awesome, who doesn't necessarily need you in their life. And so you don't have that awesomeness. You're going to find that people who aren't quite so awesome may be more amenable to being your friend. And you may think they're not quite good enough for you. And maybe that is, maybe it isn't. You will have to be the judge of who comes into your universe as a friend. And that's going to be the really, really tough part. Is you're going to be a judge, and you're going to have in your mind the fact that you're trying really hard to impress other folks, and other people are trying to impress you, but you want to try to collect the best possible friends as possible, collect the best people, and not collect as many of the not so great lower level people, if you will. That's the hard part of making friends when you're an adult. They're not just showing up and having fun. You have to actually hang on to them for a bit for some reason. So this gets very hard as you become an older person, and you will have a hard time doing this. You will, but it will be one of the most fulfilling things you'd get when you connect with someone new and make a new friend. Oh, by the way, they don't have to be real friends. This may help beyond this one. And so you don't have to make a lifelong friendships in your goals. You just need to find people to be your friends. And you don't have to, go to playgrounds, because that would be really weird and creepy. You can just kind of look at the relationships that you have right now. Every time you connect with a person, it's a relationship. When you go to McDonald's and you order a burger and fries through the drive-through window, it's a relationship with the person on the other side of that screen. It's not a very deep relationship, but it is a casual relationship at that moment in that conversation. Who do you have these relationships with? Are there people at work who are great at being coworkers, great at being associates, that you can, deem your work friends? Are there people in your community groups that you can sort of hang on for, friendships that may not have to be forever, but may work in the moment? Do your kids interact with people, and the adults that you interact with in that level make them viable to be friends on that level? They don't have to be people that you have deep, long, dark, meaningful conversations with. Why your conversations are deep and dark and meaningful, I'm not sure. But these are not necessarily the people you're going to have these long conversations with. These aren't people that you're going to stop every Friday night and have a beer with. But these are people that you can sit and talk to. So it's good to have acquaintances at work who can fill these roles. Good to have acquaintances in the kids group and the pickup line for school that do work as well. People you can talk to, people you can commiserate with, people you can bounce ideas off of, people who can remind you that the play is this week. So make sure you come to the line early before the chaos comes. Those things are great. And they don't have to be necessarily friends, like for life or blood brothers, but they should be there and important, really important. They have to be real people. Now, this this website and the videos are made for a personal development bent. And one way that personal development people tend to cheat when they get to the part about finding people to learn from, the whole mentors thing, is that your mentor doesn't have to be a real person. You just need to get experience from someone to learn it to go forward. So you can say that Warren Buffett is your mentor in managing money, because he has all of his managing money assets, ideas, and thoughts process essentially written out on paper and as an announcement. A big part of being Warren Buffett is being famous for announcing what's going on. So you can follow his trades essentially as they go along. He can be your mentor because you can learn from him, but he can't necessarily be your friend unless you actually know him. Your mentors can't be someone, or your mentors can be someone from a book, from afar, people that you kind of in a circle but not quite interact with. But your friends, these people that you're going to actually bounce ideas off of and talk to, must actually be people that you can physically put your hands on, although you don't want to like put your hands on them, that you can talk to, that you have access to, people that will talk to you, that you have access to. So making friends is going to be hard, and they have to be real people, which makes it really, really hard. You can't just do internet searches for folks and pull up the information. These are people you have to actually have conversations with eventually at some point, especially trying to make the friendships go. So they have to be real people, and they have to be people you can trust, because otherwise, why have them as a friend? You can find any random person out there who will be there, quote unquote, in your corner, and then they may just abandon you in your time of need. So they don't have to be a long, lifelong, blood brothers, but they can be someone you work with that you know has your best interest at heart, or at least has their own best interest in heart, and knowing that stabbing you in the back is bad business for them. This is where, the true friendships like my daughter is picking up, and hopefully she'll keep for a long time. At some point in time, she'll get to the realization that my son is seeing with people who just at some point in time you realize that guy was cool to hang out with at the party, but when my car breaks down, he literally is nowhere to be found. In fact, he's probably the one that that I let borrow the car that didn't put gas in the car, and which is why I'm out of gas in the middle of no place and it's broken down. These need to be people that you can actually put some trust in, and we're not talking about your full fledged, all ever loving trust, but you just have to be able to know they're not going to stab you in the back. Let's start with that. You will probably find some great friends in your process of finding great friends. And there's some people that will just come together that just in some weird way, it just they're meant to be. At an old employer, at an old broadcasting stop I had in radio, our human resources lady that we hired into work human resources had this just amazing bond with the business manager. The human resources lady, just moved into town because her husband moved into town for a job, and took the job because she thought it'd be fun to work with radio people, and just was a hoot. Her and the business manager, who was a hoot on her own, they just sort of just went bam, and like the Wonder Twins took things over, and they are great friends to this day. About 15 years later, and about 8 or so years later, since the human resource lady moved away to someplace else, and obviously the business manager lady moved away about 2 years ago as well. They are now not in the same realm. They are states apart. They're miles and miles apart, but they get together so often to tear things up and scare the locals because they just connected like that. That is an example of a connection that just sort of happened in a situation where two people who were coworkers and they gelled and worked like that. That could happen to you, or maybe it won't. Maybe somebody in the group that your kids hangs out with, one of the parents in those groups, maybe you find there's a extra connection on top of that that keeps you together, even when the kids decide they're bored with each other. That may happen. That may not. Maybe it literally is a bump into a random stranger in the street and drew up a conversation and find you have something in common, change information, and go from there. Maybe it won't happen. Maybe it won't. The biggest thing you'll have to basically come to terms with is this person must be someone you can basically trust, someone you can talk to, and know they're not playing you for someone else, not playing you for a sucker in those means. So, finding new friends or trying to find new friends involves these four things. Number one, knowing that this is going to be hard to do as you get older. At almost 50, it's really hard for me to stop in places and try to make new friends. Acquaintances, maybe so, based on what I'm doing, but to say I'm going to make this person my friend, I've told the story in these videos about my Canadian friend in college who just said, I'm going to be your friend. And for 4 years, we were friends just because she said it. It just worked out that way. It's hard for the things to happen when you get older because the situations go on and we get to where we are and the polarization of the world and things like that. So it's harder for this to happen as you get older. But you have to make sure that you're looking for real people, actual people to make friends. Don't just say, oh, I watched this video from this creator or whatever, and I feel like I'm a part of his community, his family. That is true, but you're not friends. That does not make you friends. That does not make him a person you can pick up a phone call and have a conversation with. That means you follow a guy and maybe responds to your chats back and forth. But until you're actually hanging out with each other, and trust me, as a person who does not hang out, there are a few people that I interact in that way. So you're actually hanging out with each other and can make contact with each other on a regular basis. That doesn't count. Also doesn't count is, oh well, skip that first. The real people part. Real friends. They have to be people who are actual people. Real friends, real people. We're going to mix up together. They have to be real friends to you, not just the mentor books. They have to be real people, not just the mentor books. And since we're butchering this, let's go to the last one. They need to be people you can trust, people who aren't going to stab you in the back. So we're going to just wrap on this one because the gist is pretty simple. You need to go out there and make a couple new friends. You need to do the work. You need to do what you can to go out there and make some friends, or just be cordial. Start with being cordial, if you will. Try not to not piss people off if that's your starting point. You can work with that. That should work for you as well. Let's take a look at the website that blowing up the nation, maybe not, but we do what we can with our website. This is Better You in 52, the website that allows you to get some assets, get some work. You see there, they have the resources linked there, more about the actual program, which is essentially you say you want to do better and then you do better. There you go. Just like that. And the videos for the weeks going forward. Remember, this is not a 52-week program, but we're providing a brand new video every single week of the year for 2022 in succession to give you that something to work on every single week, just in case you are finding yourself a little bit down, a little bit out, not figuring what's going on. Week 13 last week worked on figuring out your philosophy. If you're a little weirded out about what you think and what you should be doing, it's time for you to figure out exactly who you are and not be following other people. Listen to your body. Week 12, a big one. Make sure you know that you are staying healthy, because the wealthy and wise part does not work out if there's no health part. Your body will tell you when things are going wrong. So listen to your body. Drop some obligations. One of the reasons why you may not be getting as far ahead and getting better at these new things is you got some obligations, old things need to be done. I recently had to send a letter to my boss stating the obligations that I was attached to and the obligations people were trying to attach to me, to let them know that some things have to be worked out and some things needed to be adjusted. There are only so many hours in a day and so many work things going on. And while other people believe that, our role was to cover these things, at some point, you run out of coverage. So dropping some obligations is something that I am constantly working on and getting better at, honestly enough. But dropping obligations is something you may need to think about going forward. And one more, do a financial assessment. One thing that may be hindering your work in getting better is that what you want to do costs a lot of money, or what you want to do is a situation where it takes up a lot of time and you don't have the time because you're behind on bills and to spend a lot of time at work. Do a financial assessment to see what it is that you want to do, what it actually costs to get that better, and figure out how to make it work. Maybe you just want to be a better golfer. Golf costs a lot of money. And so if you have spare change and time, great. If you don't, find ways around those financial commitments you must do and find ways to eliminate the financial commitments that aren't really commitments. That's just you throwing things those ways. So check out our website, betteryouin52.com, for these links to each week's video. And coming soon, we're working on kind of finalizing ways to do forums and for resources. So there's ways so that we can chat directly with you. If you want to chat directly with us, you can always respond and comment to any of the videos or any of the links in the website, and we respond back to there. But a direct link for more group coaching, if you will, more cohort work, if you will, hopefully coming soon. I say coming soon because we have ideas, but there's a lot of things going on, and making it work and keeping it as close to free as possible. The website is free. These videos are free. They live on YouTube. The website, a couple bucks paid for on the back end of my hosting. No big whooping deal for the funds. Making the other resources at an amenable amount of money, i.e., hopefully close to free as possible, comes with sponsorships, and the sponsorships comes with demands, and we're trying to stay away from demands. So we're going to work on that. As we said, betteryouin52.com. That's where you can find all things there. In the meantime, thank you so much for joining us for this week's video. If it's your first time, check out the past videos we had for the past 14 weeks. This is week 14, 13 weeks prior. And we're going to do our best to keep this thing going for a full year. I've done this project a few times over the past almost decade. Every 2 3 years or so with some sort of Better Unit 52 sort of production, whether it was the original, which was a weekly program that went through a year's worth of being better, to this one, which is more open and more about support. We're glad that you stopped by to hang out with us, hang out with me, listen to me ramble for about 20 minutes at this time. Come back next week for another great edition of Better Unit 52. We always say that. And we just want to make sure that you're doing well. Reach out if you can. Respond if you want to, and if you're not feeling like it's working, let us know. We'll do what we can to make this better. So thank you so much for this week, and we'll see you next week.